this session, because there's a lot at stake for one, and they've got to adapt the cars to get the best out of them.
Now, take a look at the track layout here. What are the main areas we're going to be looking at, particularly qualifying? Forget the race for the moment, but qualifying. Where have you got to be quick here?
Well, the obvious one is obviously the sort of the S2, which is that big long sort of straight at the back we've got, and that's normally where you can get a lot of speed. But where you get around to sort of T10, T11, T12, it starts to tighten up. Get to T14, T15, last turn, very, very tight, one of the slowest parts of the circuit. That's where you need the car to really get as much grip as you can. You go a little bit further down, doing this a bit of an odd way around, but getting around to turn 5 and 6, again, very, very slow turn 5, and turn 6 is important because it goes on to the back straight, which you need to get as much speed as you can. So there's a lot of different characteristics. Generally, Paul Ricard has always been very, very smooth. It's sort of got a little bit more bumpy over the times, and of course it's a car that needs to adapt to those bumps at the same time. So there's a lot of different little things that you need to get the car to work around the bumps.
Yeah, you think so?
I would think so. So again, that's going to be something that's going to benefit them both very, very much so. And it'll be interesting to see that battle. As you said,
it will. Yeah. And it's fun to see they've both gone out
started,
together.
Yes.
Yeah. Olivier Panis will probably be quite happy to just chase Grosjean around, because he's still learning the car. And it's quite useful, isn't it, as an experienced driver, if you're following somebody driving the same car who is good, and you know you can sort of watch what they're doing, it sort of speeds up the learning process for you as well.
Oh no, absolutely. Although they've had a little bit of practice yesterday, it's another day. The circuit's in a different condition, and there are still things that you can learn, and more for Olivier, because as you said, Ben, he's got less experience, and as we see, they're both at it.
Well, Grosjean started it off, and it was almost synchronised, sliding
down for the.
Is this a nice chicane, or
haven't driven on it?
Right. Okay.
Haven't been through this one,
so
but it looks quite nice. Yeah, rather go later. It's quite nice by the look of things.
Yeah.
Another long straight as well, very important to get it. Senior corner, right-hander, a little bit of an ease off, I think, for these GT1s. Great corner, going down into, which is like a horseshoe, double right-hander, very, very tricky. And it's sort of, there's a little dip just as it gets to this second part now. It goes a little bit down, rising up again, going to the right for a long left-hander. Very, very hard on the tyres. It's a general problem that you get here at Paul Ricard. It's very, very difficult to manage the tyres. We've got a nice right-hander coming back towards the pit complex, you see, the white buildings. Long left, very, very difficult to keep the car in tight, but to keep the momentum of the speed. Last corner, you want to get it all right here, because this is the end of your lap, to get the maximum traction as you go up to the start-finishing line, which is that gantry there with the lights.
That's really interesting, and thanks for your guidance, and we'll look at it a lot more as we go through the weekend. But what you were telling me earlier about places where you have to be off the power, that was so obvious that when we were riding with him then, especially through the corner coming onto the pit straight, that left-hand, you sort of go off the power, wait, keep it tight, and then you have to wait for the second part as well.
Yeah, you have to sort of wait to get the car to turn in, but if you do any form of touching the throttle between the shifting point and that sort of apex, the middle of the corner, the car will get very, very loose. You've got to wait. It's sort of a completely different, I think I explained a bit earlier on with the single-seater, but you need patience in these types of cars. But you get the patience, and then it repays you with more speed.
Patience gives you performance. There we are. That's our motto for the weekend. We've got our motto. Great. Now, number 4, the Nissan. This is the Swiss racing car, Seiji Ara and Max Nielsen's car. And where are they in the standings at the moment? Not really featuring that far up, so they've got a bit of work to do. Currently fastest, it's still the Riccardo Zonta Lamborghini Murcielago, Andrea Bertolini. Matteo Bobbi is now moved up into 3rd place, so that's another of the Maseratis, but it's the Hager car. So the Maseratis are looking strong. And Panis, that's a good lap. He's gone 4th quickest now. That little spin he had earlier doesn't seem to have affected him too much.
Certainly not, but I think it's actually woken him up.
Yeah, I think it did wake him up.
But again, I think that's just his worth of experience driving around here. He did a lot of testing, I think, when he was driving in Formula 3, I think, beforehand, and a little bit in Formula 1 as well. So he's got a nice amount of experience, and he's using it.
Probably not as many as those hours and hours he used to spend pounding around Manicourt, though.
No, I'm sure not.
I wonder how many laps. I bet he lost count of the laps he did round there.
I'm sure he doesn't want to remember.
No, I'm sure he doesn't. No. Anyway, so Zonta's still quickest. It's still Lamborghini on top, Maserati 2nd, Maserati 3rd now, and Ford GT in 4th. And then we've got a Corvette up there. So the Corvettes are beginning to play the game. Up to 5th place for Andrea Piccini. He's back, by the way, in a Corvette this weekend. Good to have him back after he was so strong at Abu Dhabi. He's sharing the car of Mark Kenerici, the number 13 Corvette. Now we're back on board a different car now,
Yeah,
right-hand drive car.
Warren Hughes, we've just gone out of shot. It's interesting to see all the switches and buttons, and the driver little fan that they've got in there as well, those little aids. But it's a nice sort of little armchair.
Yeah, it's very, very nice, isn't it? His office. Jamie Camp-Walter was saying to us how hot it was in the car yesterday. Front-engine car, of course, and that's always throwing the heat back at you too, isn't it?
It is, unfortunately, yes. Of course, you've got the radiator at the front, the engine, and unfortunately, it all comes back into where the driver sits. And it, as you can see, they've got a little bit of on the driver window. They've got a little sort of slap that they can do, but the engineers don't generally like you opening it up.
I'm sure they say it messes the aerodynamics.
Messes the aerodynamics up, yes, exactly. So you can normally get a slap wrist if you open it up. If you just made a bit of air.
Yeah, when you're at the point of dehydration and you can't actually see where the track's going, you wouldn't think it was that important that the aerodynamics might be slightly messed up. We're on board the number 38 car now. This is the Dominic Schwager Alinkel Lamborghini.
Yep.
So another of the Lambos.
Looks very nice inside. He's got it's a very simple sort of setup on the look of that inside. But you got that gear shift, sequential, a little bit like a motorbike, effectively. So you just pull it. All he does is just keep pulling it back, and that goes up the gears. One more, I would imagine, and then it'll be going into that first turn, and he'll bang it down. Probably about 3, 2, 3. There go 3 gears, and that left-hander. And they're interesting because these cars generally sort of bounce around quite a lot as well, as we see the 23 Michael Crum.
Yeah, Michael Crum's gone fastest. We've got a Nissan on top. The number 23 car of Michael Crum has just gone quickest. The car he shares with Peter Dunbrack. We're looking at Carl Wendlinger out on track at the moment.
Yeah, and he's done a good job so far.
Yeah, but Carl Wendlinger down in 20th place at the moment, Johnny. That's a bit of a shock because if he stays there, he isn't going to make it through into...
We're with him now actually on screen, so he's now really got to pull his finger out.
Yeah, got to get into the top 16, and he's down in 20th at the moment. Oliver Gavin's down in 18th place, and Darren Turner's in 17th, but still a little bit of time to go. Some crucial laps coming up here then to see who's going to make it through to the second part of qualifying.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to do it on this lap. I don't know if he might move up. Maybe just about, but I think he's
hasn't got much time because
his split times are not very good now. But I think he's just coming up to end the lap. I think he's just going into the last turn. Yeah, the last turn.
So he'll get one more.
He'll get one more go. But you see, his first split on screen is green.
Yeah.
But his second one is not. Wave.
I love that. The little wave. Get on with it. And you have got to get on with it. P20 is not enough.
It's definitely not. Now and last lap, pressure's on. Was it got in front of him? Looks like he's got a Corvette in front as well, so he's going to hope that guy's going to be on it.
Yeah,
that doesn't get in his way.
We're going to see some of the favourites, down the order here because Frederick Makovicky in the Hexis Aston Martin's down in 19th place currently.
Big surprise.
Yeah, I mean, the Astons are struggling. We did talk to Darren Turner, and he felt they might not be as competitive here this weekend, and he's proving right because Darren himself is likely not to be in it. He's down in 17th position currently, so there are some stories here to be told. This car is actually just in the top 16, but under threat because there are so many potentially quick cars behind. Fastest is at the moment the Nissan of Michael Crum. Andrea Piccini's gone second quickest in the Corvette. Zonta's third in the Lamborghini, then Bertolini, then Bernoldi and another of the Maseratis. But remember, once we go into the next group of qualifying, these times get discounted. So it all starts from scratch if you make it into the top 16. That's the battle here.
Yeah, we've got Ollie Gavin down in 20th as well, which is, I'm very surprised with that.
Yeah, I'm astonished.
Yeah, and he's not looking so good. I can see Darren Turner has done a pretty good sort of first split in the time, but the second one doesn't seem to be so good.
No, that's right. Well, we'll see. There's Darren Turner, and at the moment he's down in 17th place. He's got to make this lap count. First split actually better than his previous. His second split no better.
No, we've got a 36.9 is the best split, and he's a 37.5. So that's quite a
big
way
gap
off as he goes into the last turn here with Darren.
So has he done enough to get into the top 16 here? Darren Turner, he's pushed as hard as he can, but will it be enough as he goes across the line? Oh no, he stays 17th, and he will not be making it through to the second part of qualifying, and that is a shock.
That is a shock, absolutely. And I think the flag's out. That's it for Darren, unfortunately. That's a big shock, a big shock.
That really is astonishing. And we've got a few big names down there. Got Oliver Gavin. Is he on a lap at the moment? I don't think he is on a lap.
No.
So I don't think Ollie Gavin's going to make it through either into the second part of qualifying. And nor is Frederick Makovici. Wendlinger's not going to make it through either. I think he's in that lower group as well. Hershey, so Clivia Piccioni won't even get a run in the car. Here's the list of cars that have not made it through then. It is the number 7 Aston Martin. That's a big shock for everybody. The Ford GT, the Mark VDS Ford GT, that's a bit of a surprise as well. The Aston Martin, the Hexis car of Makovici, the Mad Croc Oliver Gavin Corvette, 20th there. As you can see, the Wendlinger Nissan is 21st. And then the other Hexis car, the Aston Martin, Clivia Piccioni, not going to be going out in that car. And then the Ford of Renault Coupens and Marcus Paltala, neither of those Fords of the Mark VDS racing team have made it through. So that's really disappointing.
They're stuck with that red flag that we had.
Let's take it. These were the quickest times then. Are the fastest top speeds? Yeah, look, that's interesting. Top speeds for the two Nissans, 252.9 kilometres per hour ahead of the Fords. But the Nissans are strong in a straight line, aren't they? When we walked in yesterday, it sounded wonderful, that V8 in the Nissan. But interestingly, look at the fastest Lamborghini, 11th only on the speed trap, and yet the Lamborghinis are going well.
Yeah, no, absolutely, which is quite a surprise. But this is where I was saying the top speed is important. It's not everything, but it's these little corners that you need to get right. But that Nissan's got the speed, and seems to be very good around the corners as well.
It's got the combination. The Aston Martin sort of all together there, as you would expect.
Yeah.
The Hexis and the young driver car all together. Presumably the other young driver car, the other young driver car did just make it in. Running lighter because it's not running success ballast. Not enough though. Remember, you've got to be in top 8 and there are 6 minutes to go. He needs this next lap to be a real flyer if possible. A little bit of traffic ahead of him as well. And the big Nissan GTR. The original Nissan GTRs that first raced over here were referred to as Godzilla, and I think that we could almost use that name again because they just have that big beefiness about them, don't they? Which is a different character to some of the other cars out there.
Well, I think when it very first came over, I think the technology that was on it with its four-wheel steering and four-wheel drive, and the way I think it had the four-wheel steer at the back end, which I said, and it had a lovely, wonderful sort of powerful engine in the back, a twin turbo, and it was quite a shock. But I know in racing in Japan, it was always very, very successful out there in the GT racing.
Yeah, Nismo, of course, the sporting arm of Nissan is in Japan is a massive operation, isn't it? I mean, there's a lot of effort, money, and honour at stake. And I know that there's some very senior people from Nismo here this weekend, keeping a close eye on the progress of the GTR. Of course, they've had that victory. The number 23, the number 22 car. You're looking at the number 23, Peter Dumbreck at the moment, and that's down in 14th position currently. Needs a good lap, and I think he might have put something together. Let's just see what this is for Peter Dumbreck. We've got changes at the top of the leaderboard as well. Third fastest for Peter Dumbreck, and that is such a strong driver lineup, Peter Dumbreck and Michael Crum, and it looks as though they're definitely going to be making it through. But we have a new fastest car, and it's not a Maserati, and it's not a Lamborghini, it's a Corvette. Suddenly, Xavier Marson has gone fastest in the number 11 Corvette. So Corvettes are up there. What about the Fords? Okay, let's have a look. Natasha Gachnang is currently 12th in this car, the number 5 car, surprisingly down in 15th place at the moment. So Thomas Much has some work to do here, Johnny.
Well, he has a lot of work to do because it doesn't seem to, at the moment, doesn't seem to have really clicked together. But I think it's something now. We've only got 4 minutes left. They've really got to get a clear track to get the best out of it. But I think they're going to struggle. I'd be surprised if they can get it out.
This is the car that Zonta was in earlier, but it's his teammate now, Rafael Daniel, and he's not looking to make it through at the moment because they're in 12th. So they may not make it through to the final step of qualifying. Under 4 minutes to go now. Trying quite hard though.
He's trying quite hard, but I think his first split was not his personal best, so this lap's probably is out. And there's traffic in front of him at the same time.
Right, so not much chance there. Thomas Much up ahead of him. 35.8 at that first split for Much. That's about a second off the best at the first checkpoint.
He's using all the road. I don't know if you saw him there.
I didn't see
he was
that,
all over the curb. He was bouncing all over the place and losing time by doing it.
Yeah.
You know, what the guy should be doing now is backing off a little bit to give himself space to do one more lap, because he's just going to. you know, keep on going like it. I think he may have backed off now. He's backed off a little bit now, but maybe a little bit late. He was not a good one. He would have seen that in the car, I presume. They should have these splits normally in the steering wheel. But he's got one more lap.
Yeah, he has, but running out of time a little bit now. And you can see from those sector times, they're not coming up green, so they're not personal best. They're certainly not coming up purple, which is when you set a best of everybody, and no chance at the moment. So it's Xavier Marson in a Corvette, currently quickest. It's Corvette, Maserati, Nissan, then a Lamborghini, and so we've got 4, then we've got Pastorelli, so it's another Lamborghini. So, but certainly the top 4 are 4 different brands, and that's what it's all about. Nice competitive stuff. 15th only for the number 5 car of Thomas Butch, and it doesn't look as though the Grosjean Thomas Butch car is going to be making it much further. And interestingly, Natasha Gatchnang actually quicker than Thomas Butch at this stage in qualifying. That's a good boost for her, because having come back from that leg-breaking accident, she'll gain some confidence from the fact she's doing some good lap times here and currently quicker than her teammate.
No, precisely. All these sort of mental things are very important, as you see her in the car. So it's a good job from her, because she's only going to grow stronger from this.
She's 22 years old, cousin of Sebastian Buemi. It was remarkable, that accident, you know, that weekend, and it was the same weekend that Sebastian Buemi had that frightening Shanghai, wasn't it? When yeah, that was when something broke on his car, and it was so bizarre that 2 family members should have had such you know, sort of big accidents potentially. I mean, Sebastian was fine, unfortunately Natasha wasn't, but yeah, the 2 family members on the same weekend, that really was very strange. But it's great to see her back out in the car. She's raced extensively over the last couple of years. She's done Formula 3. She won the Copa de España F3 title in Spain in 2008. Before that, she did some Star Mazda in the United States. And then more recently, she's sort of moved over into more sports car type of stuff. She had some podiums in the Formula Le Mans series last year, but not that experienced in this kind of GT car, so she's doing well. She's down in 14th here, but as I say, she's still quicker than her teammate, about 3/10 quicker her best lap here than what Thomas Butch has done.
Yeah, and this will be her last lap, so this is her last chance to hopefully improve upon the lap time she's done so far. Maybe just move up a little bit, because even the positions are still important further down, because obviously we've got the top 8, but after that there's still other grid positions to be fought over.
Interestingly, just looking at the ones that are probably not going to make it, we've got one Nissan that's probably not going to make it. That's the Max Nielsen car. That's currently 16th. At the moment, you're looking at the number 34 Hager car of Bert Longin, and that's in 12th. So that is also not going to make it through as things stand. The 2 Fords of Natasha and Thomas Butch, doesn't look like neither of them are going to make. Oh, and then we've got a spin there for the number 34 car. Bert just pirouetting. So he didn't look as though he was actually going that quick at the time, but
not particularly.
Anyway, the clock has run out of time, so the checker flag will be coming out, and unless anybody's on a particularly fast lap at the moment, then we're not going to see too many changes here, I think. Most of them will have used the best of their tyres. That's quite late in the corner there for it to break away, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's a bit of a strange one. Yeah, I think Stefan Muck improved to 8th.
Oh, no, that's important, because that means we could still have an Aston Martin into the final stage of qualifying. That's good.
Just put that one in.
So that is an important one. Max Nielsen here is well out of it, unless this lap is looking any good. Where are we? His split times, any impressive or not?
There's
really?
No green, so...
No. 36.1 at the first split, that's not very good. 39.8 second split. Now that's funny. He's looking at the top of the screen. Earlier on in this session, Max Nielsen set the pace in this middle sector. So I don't know what's gone on, but something has happened in this session, and we maybe try and get a word with him later, because it's odd to have had the fastest middle sector time of anybody and then not even get through to the final stages.
Yeah, well, maybe this is something. I know when we were down in the Nissan garage the other day, they were talking about the tyre. Maybe the Nissan is a little bit harder on the tyres than the others, and maybe he had a little bit of speed at the beginning, and it was just a big drop-off. That's maybe one thing possibly, but I'd be surprised if it was as big as it looks.
Maybe he had a good middle sector and then fell off or something, or put a wheel off the edge on the third sector. But that's odd. So Max Nielsen is not going to make it into the top 8, despite being one of the quickest on the mid-sector of the lap earlier on in the session. But has this car made it? Where are they now? Yeah.
I think yes.
The only Aston Martin to have got through to the second stage has also now made it through to the third stage, and I think that is that deserves a little round of applause for Stefan Mucker, because we know the Aston is struggling. Yep, thank you, Johnny. Nice little round of applause there. Whether they made some changes to the car, they might have done, I suppose, between session 1 and session 2.
Yeah, but very possibly. I think you're always trying to tinker with the setup of the car, and that seems to have benefited them, because that was that wasn't a great lap, let's say, but it wasn't a bad lap to be able to enable them to get through.
I think, looking at some of the guys he's beaten there, he's done pretty well. He's beaten the other Maserati of Alex Margaritis. Daniel Ramos has not made it. Mark Henrici's not made it through in that Corvette. So number 13 Corvette's not made it through to the final 8. But Longin, who we saw having the spin, Rafael Daniel's not made it through. The 2 Martek Fords have not made it through. And bizarrely, nor has the number 4 Nissan of Max Nielsen. And there's probably a story to that one, which we will track down later on. But fastest in the session, interestingly, Xavier Marson in the number 11 Corvette. And that really is impressive, and it shows that Corvettes are definitely sort of back on song. Let's just confirm those positions then. Xavier Marson in the Mad Croc Corvette, the fastest by 3/10, and that's actually quite a decent margin over the number 1 Vitaphone Maserati that's always up there. Then the 2 Sumo Power Nissans, the Krummen Dumbrecht car, and the Jamie Campbell Walter Warren Hughes car. Then the Lamborghinis, look, 5, 6, 7. And don't count those guys out for challenging for pole, because they got themselves in the top 8 nicely. Then a very impressive run in the Aston Martin for Stefan Mucker at the end to get in the top 8. But then cars that haven't made it. The Triple H Maserati of Hager and Margaritis, the Vitaphone Maserati, Bernoldi and Ramos. Then Mark Henrici's Corvette, that's not in. The Bobby Longin car, that's not made it through. They finished 12th. And then also not making it through, the Reiter Lamborghini, the number 25 car, Ricardo Zonta and Rafael Daniel, and the 2 Fords, they're not made it, and for some reason the other Nissan there also not making it through. So we have our final 8 lined up. That's building up the speed, waiting to see if the next lap, it's Warren Hughes is back in the car this time, of course. The Geordie racer, who raced in British touring cars for some years with MG, remember, slightly different style of racing, but also with his MG connections, also went to Le Mans, raced and won the LMP2 class at Le Mans in an MG Lola back in 2005, raced the Embassy Radical in 2007, and before that, of course, he was a very rapid single-seater driver, Formula Ford, runner-up in the Festival, Junior Formula Ford champion, so, he's done a bit of everything, really, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has. He's got a wealth of experience. Great little peddler. Always had a lot of speed from his early days, if you just mentioned back in Formula Ford. And he's always been able to adapt to these cars, and that's always something that's difficult for some drivers. They find it very hard to adapt to these cars, and you always get those drivers that just have that little edge are the ones who do very well in this form of racing.
You've probably spent more time over the years with his brother Mark Hughes, who's an F1 journalist, than you have with Warren, haven't you?
Yeah, no, definitely so. Yes, I think I was always Formula One in at the time that he was racing, to be honest. I think there was an element just at the end of the MG time, but yes, more with his brother.
Yeah, great writer. I really have to say, just by the by, I think Mark Hughes is one of the best Formula One writers in the business, and always enjoy reading his stuff. But quite a talented family, really. Mark has done a bit of racing himself, raced Tuscans at one point, and more for fun than as seriously as Warren. But Warren's always been the serious racer of the pair, and Mark's the guy who writes about it, and as I say, very talented family. But let's see how they get on now. Watching him around on the lap already. He's on to his first flying lap, so we're getting those sector times coming up, Johnny. 37, but that's not very quick. We've already got a 34 from Peter Cox on his first sector, and that's much more like it. We've been seeing laps in the low 34s and in 33s in that first sector, so this is not a particularly quick lap at the moment for Warren. So maybe with the Nissan, they need to do lap and a half, 2 laps to get those tyres to where they want them to be.
Maybe again it's all been down to, and Warren has been one who's been talking about this tyre issue probably the most, and maybe this is something where they're going to be hopefully shrewd, for them anyway, shrewd on their tyre choice for this particular session.
The number 11 Corvette, which actually ended up setting the fastest time in the second qualifying segment. You can see he's done a 34.9 for the first set. May have got held up here, that's the only trouble. He's done a 37.3 in the second, which is, he's backed it right off now. But that was disappointing for them. Mike Hazement is back in that car. Xavier Marson set the pace in session 2, but it is Mike Hazeman's a Corvette specialist through and through, who is now in the car, and he's had to back off on that lap. Peter Cox is still on a good lap at the moment, looks as though the first fastest lap might be for this car, number 24, the Lamborghini Murcielago of Peter Cox. He's just up to the final corner now, and it's a good couple of split times already. Now, are we going to see a lap in the 2-minute 4s? That's the sort of expectation, certainly for pole position. Across the line he goes. It's a 2:04.0. That is a good lap, and I think that's actually the fastest lap of the day so far. No, we did have a 2:03.7 for Michael Krum earlier, so it's a rapid lap, but we might see something more than that. Peter Cox, quickest in the Lambo. Dominic Schwager's just gone second quickest. Michael Krum has gone third fastest the first few times coming in, but it's only really Peter Cox, interestingly, on that lap, who put in a flying lap and really went for it straight out of the box. The others have all done a sort of slightly slow slightly slow first flying lap and are doing their quick one now.
Now the other one is we got now Bertolini in the car. He seems to be sort of on a quick lap. He's probably on for second position. He's not going to get the pole on this lap, but he seems to be the only other one that seems to be on it early. Okay, that's interesting. So the Maserati and the Lamborghinis both perhaps bringing the tyre in a little quicker and using it harder, and the other cars bringing them in a little more gently, and tyre management, as we keep saying, is going to be crucial this weekend. So he's coming up towards the latter part of the lap now. I presume he will probably go quicker on his next lap if he doesn't make mistakes. He'll probably go quicker because, as I said, the Maserati is normally very good on its tyres, and it will probably improve on its next lap. We've got Peter Cox, who hasn't. He seems to have gone slower in his second lap. So I bet he might do a fast lap, a slow lap, and then one quick lap at the end, try and get that a little bit more.
Well, it was still a good enough lap for second there for Bertolini, and he had the fastest final sector, which is good because, of course, that's setting the next lap up, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. As I said, it seems to be something that's just an inbuilt part of what the MC12 is about.
Yeah. Watching Dominic Schwager in the Al Inkel Lamborghini. We've got Lamborghini 1, Maserati 2, Lamborghini 3, and this Lamborghini 4 at the moment. That's the order. Michael Krum's Nissan 5, then the Warren Hughes Nissan 6, Mike Haseman's 7. And good first sector from Andrea Bertolini. So
he's a 10th up, I think, on Peter's best.
That's going to be good. Let's just see what Dominic Schwager does here in the 38 car. Currently 7th. He's going to go ahead of that, though. No, he stays 7th. I thought he would move up, but no, he stays 7th for the moment. And as you say, it's Bertolini out of the number 1 Maserati who's set the fastest first sector time. Looking good.
I think what we will find is Peter will do his last lap and go, and then Bertolini again, quickest in the second sector. So he's you see all the purples there on screen. So as I said, that Maserati does seem to get faster and faster.
It does, doesn't it? Let's just watch him here, Johnny. Can you see the speed, as it were, in his driving style?
Well, you can. You can just see the way the car just seems to be settled down. It's he can sort of go use all the track. The car's not moving, sliding, and it's very, very. You can see it's just very, very smooth, and that's utilising the tyres. And he's coming to the end of the lap here. There's a long left, and then into the final right. Quite a difficult left, but very, very stable. Beautiful, very, very nice. Yes. But this is going to be very good for him for the race because I think obviously the car looks. There's no back end stepping out, nothing. So looking very good, and I think this will be the pole for sure.
Across the line, Andrea Bertolini. It's a great lap. 2:03.511. It's a mega lap from Andrea Bertolini in the Vitaphone Maserati. He goes fastest. That could well be pole position. Can anybody get anywhere near that? Well, right now they're not, because the next best is in the 2-minute 4s, and that is Peter Cox. He still might have another run. You're watching Mike Haseman's in the Corvette here, and Haseman's first sector 34.9. He was 3/10 down on Bertolini in the first sector, 2/10 down on the second, so no chance to challenge for pole, but he could still move up maybe into third, perhaps even into second if he really strings together the last part of the lap correctly. But he'll need something special here. He's just coming out of that last corner, and now he drag strip to the line. He's not going to match that 2:03.5 of the Maserati. Let's see what the time is as he crosses the line. 4th for Mike Haseman's, so it's a 2:04.6, and not quite up onto that front row, but it's still a very good qualifying performance in the Corvette.
Yeah, no, definitely so. I think it's a good showing. I think everybody knows that the Corvette is always very good in a race situation, and I think that's looking good for them. Not so bad.
Let's just see if there's any change here for Bouchou.
Green 6th.
Yeah, no change. Stays 6th. He was 6th, stays 6th. And unless he's got something special here on these tyres.
I see. You see on the screen it's green at the first two, and then it's not his best as he goes through the chicane there. If he carries on, that'd be a good lap.
Yeah.
I don't think it will stick.
No, I think he'd already used the best, as you say. That's an indicator.
Yeah, I think the majority have used the best now. If they had the new tyre on, I think they would have done it earlier. We've only got what now? Oh, there you go.
It's just gone. It's just gone.
The check flag's out, so that's it. So for the Maserati, that's an impressive lap, and I think the tyre management for that car is going to be very, very good and very, very hard to beat.
So it looks for the second time this year as though the number 1 Maserati has taken pole position. Andrea Bertolini doing the work there, and in this final session coming up with a really special lap, a 2-minute 3.5. We watched most of the lap and it looked beautifully smooth. You're looking here at the number 22 car of Warren Hughes. Looks as though those guys are going to end up 5th on the grid. Their teammates, Michael Crum and Peter Dumbreck, 3rd on the grid. But we do have a Lamborghini on the front row, and that is great news for Peter Cox and the Blancpain team, because that is definitely one of it is their best qualifying performance of the season so far. I think it's the best Lamborghini qualifying performance of the year so far, so that really is a boost to the team, to the Reiter team. The Alinkel team here of Christophe Bouchou also doing well, and so that's good news for them. And Lamborghinis definitely have done well.
Yeah, I think they have. I think the interesting thing has been there was one car that didn't go on track. It was the Aston Martin.
Ah, the Aston, yes.
So I believe that is a strategy call on that one. I think they won't use any tyres. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's Peter.
Yeah, it's Peter. Sort of listening in we are here, we're earwigging. One lap it's good, second lap, basically what he was saying, he couldn't get the speed on the second lap. But it's Maserati. You boys can celebrate down there for the second event in succession on a very different style of circuit. It is the number 1 Vitaphone Maserati that has taken pole. Andrea Bertolini putting in a fantastic lap of 2-minute 3.511 to take pole position in the Maserati MC12. The Lamborghini, though, of Peter Cox has done brilliantly well to qualify on the front row for the qualifying race. The Nissan of Peter Dumbreck and Michael Crum will start from 3rd on the grid, and the Corvette, the Mad Croc racing car of Mike Hazemans, will start from 4th position. Another Nissan then of Warren Hughes and Jamie Campbell-Walter, they were 5th fastest in qualifying. Then the 2 Alinkel Lamborghinis. Christophe Bouchou going slightly faster than his teammate there, Dominic Schwager. And we didn't see the Aston Martin out there of Stefan Mucker and Christopher Nygaard, but they will be lining up in 8th place.